Aloha. We're live.
Aloha, Charles. How are you,
Aloha.
Charles?
I'm fine.
Nice lay. That is a nice lay.
Well, it's a
Hang on.
special. It's a
Yeah.
special. It's a
Oh,
special.
shucks. Oh my God.
What'd you
Oh,
forget?
I forgot I know. I said forget. I didn't say the F word. I said forget. I gotta share. I gotta do this. The watch party. Watch party. Watch party.
Yeah, I'm gonna share them right now.
Hang on, guys. Hang on, everyone. Hang on.
Today's Wi-Fi.
Hold on. Yeah.
Yep. Aloha, everyone. As Mel gets his iPad set up, I'd like to tell you and wish you all a good day. Hope everybody is having a great day today on Cinco de
What
Mayo.
is that?
And you say,
Today the 5th.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, everybody. I kind of behind the time over here.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo day today.
and you say,
Today the 5th. Yeah.
It's gosh, I cannot believe I'm so behind. Okay, share watch party. Okay, here we go. Get all my stuff together. By the way, hey, happy Boys Day, Charles.
Same to you, my brother. Same
Yeah.
to you.
Patsy made a Boys Day mask for me. Can you see this, Charles?
Huh?
You see
Oh,
the
that's
nice
very,
little-
very nice.
Yep. So I'm gonna use this for the entire duration. It's a swear blocker, a curse blocker, a cuss word blocker. So as much as I want to swear, this is gonna prevent me from swearing tonight. Anyway, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us again tonight on this wonderful Tuesday evening. It's Boys Day, Cinco de Mayo. I don't know what else. If any of you celebrating anything tonight, congratulations on whatever you're celebrating. Now would be a good time to share this. Oh boy, Rhonda Morris is on. Woo! I like to get her on as a guest one night. You know, I should have got her on tonight, but I think Facebook would kick us off. I really think Facebook would kick us off immediately.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I'd like to say thank you to Janelle again, Aquino, for these beautiful lays. We forgot to wear them on May, what, couple days ago, right? May Day.
yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yesterday. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We didn't. We forgot all about it. So I hope she comes on tonight or watches tonight.
Oh,
That
I'm
we
sure
have.
she will be. I'm
Yep.
sure she will be. But this is a beautiful lay.
Yep.
It's Patsy's favorite flower. This thing smells delicious.
Yep.
And oh, Stephanie Noda said she needs that mask, the cuss blocker, the cuss blocker.
oh,
And Rhonda needs that mask as well. But
Rhonda needs a bigger one.
anyway, now is a good time. Hit the share button, start a watch party, because tonight we're going to discuss some things. We cleared the calendar tonight, so Charlie and I could just share and talk about what happened today, as far as the what is now called Proc 7 proclamation, the governor's proclamation number 7. They call it Proc 7. But before we go there, share this so we can get this out to as many people as possible. Cussing is not in your nature. You're okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Cummings. And as well, the shirt. Guys, time is running out. We're probably going to run this only for a couple more nights.
Yes.
So if you want to get this shirt, $10, send me a private message and tell me what sizes you want. $10 cannot beat. Kirk Correa Island Athletic Tees have donated this shirt to us, complete, zero cost. All proceeds, all $10 will go to Hawaii Community Foundation, and we are getting close to the $2,000 mark. And then we will be unveiling the Doodle Boy shirt in the next couple of days. So, but once we close this one out, it's done. So if you want this flatten the curve shirt, make sure you send me your sizes to my private messenger. Don't do it on the comments, because we trust me, we get hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of comments, and we may miss it. So send it to the messenger. I'll send you the link to pay either PayPal or Venmo. And wow, Gladys Baisa is on as well. former council chair of Maui, one of my best buddies. Awesome lady. Thank you for joining us as well. So, anything, Charlie, before we get into the meat and potatoes?
Well, I just would like to say again one more time for all of the viewers out there. Thank you so much for your loyal, your loyal fan base. And we see the names, we see a lot of new names, and we just can't thank you enough, because it was Mel's dream when he first started to get information out, and then he so graciously asked me to join in, and we've been able to take this a magical journey together, getting the information out to all of you. That's what this is all about, is getting the information out to all of you, and how you use that information, purely it's up to you. But we hope that we've been able to give you good information so you can make some right decision making. And I know sometimes the outcome is not always favorable, but you know what, if we stick together, we can get favorable outcomes that way. So we got a lot of stuff in store tonight that we're going to discuss, and I'm raring to go there, Mel. I'm raring to go.
Roger that, Roger that. Well, you know, it did this thing. I started doing my Facebook Live once a week in October of 2018, and I remember vividly watching the governor do his first press conference about the quarantine, which we're all excited for. And then he said it was going to start in 5 days. And then I did a Facebook Live straight from my phone. That thing went close to 18,000. It's probably over 18,000 views now. And then realizing, based on reading all the comments from that one Facebook Live, realized that, you know, a lot of the people don't get the information that they should be getting, simply because you get a press conference once a day. It's typically, remember back then everybody was working. Nobody could get to it. It's very hard to find. Yes, Dave, I got your email or your message about the testing. Thank you very much. So it was only natural that, you know, we felt, I called Charlie and said, you know, Charlie, what about, you know, we just putting together a show nightly and try to just keep everybody abreast of what's going on. And I got to tell you, today somebody posted, you know, I posted about the quarantine. I mean, the curfew being lifted tomorrow. We'll talk about that later. But there's this guy who's a friend of mine, and he posted this thing like, hey, you know, where did you get this from? Is this real, or are you making this up, or something like that? And I said, of course it's real. And he said, well, if it's not from the horse's mouth, then it's fake news. And I said, well, I got it straight from the mayor's press conference today. And if you don't believe me, you can go watch it. You know, we do this to help people get information. We don't do this to to create stir and debate. We basically put it out there, what's happening in the state. And yes, we have our opinions, but at the end of the day, like Charlie said, you make your own opinions based on the facts that you get. You know, this is not, we don't take excerpts out of someone's interview. No, we bring the people on and they're here live. They're not scripted. It's not scripted. They're not given a list of questions. They're on the fly. Every single one of our guests have been on the fly, and we are going to continue bringing on guests. Tonight, we just wanted to share our own personal feelings because of, remember, we get thousands and thousands of comments. So we kind of know where most of you are coming from. But tomorrow night, we got Senator De La Cruz. Wednesday, we got
No, tomorrow is Wednesday.
no, tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow we got Senator De La Cruz. Thursday we'll have Mr. Chip Bayhuth, General Manager of the Sheraton Poipu. And he's going to give us a perspective from a GM's point of view. And then on Friday we'll have Senator Ron Kochi to recap the week up at the state capitol with the legislature and the governor's office. So, but these guys they're not presented with a script. They just come on and they're going to answer questions on the fly. And that's what we try to do. We try to bring that to you folks, and you guys take it for what it's worth. You do what you want with it. And that's basically what we do. And that's what we're going to continue to do as long as people are willing to listen. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do this 7 days a week forever, but I can tell you, Charlie and I have been talking about continuing in some capacity, maybe once a week. But anyway, we'll get to that at a later time. Somebody just posted, yeah, some guys don't like hear the truth. I think you're right. I think there are some people don't want to hear the truth and they want to believe what they want to believe. But at the end of the day, we present the facts as we know them to be, and then you create your own position or opinions or whatever, what have you. So what I wanted to start off with tonight, Charlie, was the governor's Proc 7. We had been hearing for quite a while. It was very clear to me, actually, from day one, that he was really more concerned about opening up the state than he was about focusing on the virus itself, securing our airports. We've been following this thing daily, and yesterday's press conference, he talked about thinking about opening up some of the businesses. What got me yesterday, he said California was going to open their businesses on Friday, but this was his words, we're going to beat California, like this is some kind of race. You know, honestly, I don't give a rat's patootie what California does or what anybody else does. See, we're not California, we ain't Oregon, we're not Seattle, we are Hawaii, and we have our own set of situations, circumstances. And I was very upset when it came across as if, hey, we got to beat California in this thing. No, we don't. We don't. Our system at the airport is a mess. It's in shambles, and they admit that. They cannot get the proper screening. We cannot properly track these visitors that are coming in. And see, that's the main problem. I think, Charlie, you talked about if we didn't have visitors, Hawaii could be wide open for the locals.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
anyway.
Again, I think when I first started sounding an alarm is because, as you know, both Mel and I, we've been former law enforcement. And, we know that when we have someone who's very sick in the community that might have something contagious, a lot of times they'll ask the police to secure the area. So we know what a quarantine is. We know what it's like to secure an area, not against the person's will, but to make sure that really it's others outside don't get in the perimeter to get infected. That's what it's all about. It's not about us taking away anybody's rights. And the thing is, because this virus is so highly contagious, just the mere passing of it, just mere walking down an aisle, you can be at a shopping, you can be at Safeway, you can be by the milk section, and you can just be passing each other, and that's enough to catch the virus. So again, that's why I felt from day one that when we had this quarantine set up, there were too many loopholes to give people the options. Because, come on, folks, tell me, how many of you really thought you could handle staying 20, 30 days locked up and not do nothing? I mean, you're going to get out. We have the ability to get out because why? We stayed quarantined. We've proven we are not asymptomatic. We don't have anything that manifests itself because why? This virus came from the outside in. So now, knowing that, what we're trying to do is prevent the virus from coming outside in. And today's post, I did say we have a great advantage. And that advantage is we're in the middle of the ocean. The water is our buffer zone. We got a terrific advantage. We're not like some states where people can just drive through and bring it in. We're not like that. You have to come through one area. So if the restrictions are made just so we can stay protected, where we open up our state, we can move around in a COVID-free environment, right? Because we have everything contained. But the containment that the governor and the Department of Health has right now is not a true containment. It's not going to contain the virus. Like when we talked about the ships right now, the ship is offshore, or they don't let anybody off the ship. The virus stays on the ship. We know that for a fact. But the moment they touch shore and they start walking around milly-milly, wherever they want to go, we don't have any idea where they went. And all it takes one, and we could have a kupuna, aloha, welcome to Kauai, not knowing what if that person infected. Boom, you know the kupuna. It's those kind of things that really I get a little bit edgy.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, we're dealing with a virus that is highly contagious and that is deadly. And I don't want to hear about more people die from the flu. I'm not going to get into that tonight because that's a debate. Again, I don't want to even entertain that debate. The bottom line is people are dying. A lot of people are dying. And we are allowing people to come through that airport, not knowing if they're a carrier or not. And there is no effort being made as far as I can see. And as far as when I listen to the governor's press conference every single day, and I listen to Bruce Anderson and the governor, and they are preparing for the worst case scenario. And if you don't believe me, go listen. It's online. You can go watch it. If you think I'm making this up, you think I'm exaggerating, no, go watch it yourself. Then you would understand why we're so upset. They are preparing, being that now we know we're going to open up. And phase 2 is not far from today. But knowing that we're going to open up, they know very well that there's going to be spikes in the numbers. I mean, just look at this week. We went from 2 to 1, now we're up to 4. Okay, it's only 4. We're also getting more visitors in this state today than we've ever had from when the quarantine started. That's not going to stop. So we're going to get more people coming in, and they still haven't gotten the airport screening process down. So we're still getting people getting through. I did speak to Senator.
Don't forget, half the time they don't know where the people are coming from. They don't know if they're connecting at LAX to here, coming from the East Coast. Because look at Boston, how fast Boston popped up. Look at Georgia, how it's popping up. Places like that. And we'll talk more about that. But just dovetailing what you're saying right now, they don't know where they're coming from.
We have no idea. And, we keep talking about patient 31. And, I don't care if that's in Korea. It doesn't really matter. This virus acts on a Korean as it would on an American, on a Hawaiian, on a Filipino. They don't discriminate. So patient 31 was able to infect over 1,000 people. And we cannot handle that over here. We don't have the beds. And when I hear the administration talk about we're preparing for the worst, we have the surge protection that in the event we get a spike, we can handle it. How can you say that when you don't even know what the spike would be? What if the spike is 500, 300? What if it's just 100? What if Kauai has 20 sick patients? Where are you going to put them? We don't have the facilities. So it frustrates me because the efforts are being put into reopening the state. And don't get me wrong, Charlie, I think you agree. We got to get this state open. We got to get people back to work. We need to, at some point, open up. And I'm perfectly fine with that if we had the airport secure. You see, the governor doesn't want to make it uncomfortable. He doesn't want to make it difficult for the visitors because then they will stop coming. And I'm saying, yeah, they should stop coming. They should stop coming. And right now, they can break away. You can't. How long you think is the average visitor stay in Hawaii? You think it's over 14 days? No. It's probably anywhere from 5 to 7 days. So the chances of these visitors that you see out there on the road and sitting on the beach, the chances of them completing their 14-day quarantine is slim, but they're getting out. And we don't know where they go. Now we open up the stores. We're opening up Ross's. We're opening up. Everybody's going to go there and touch racks and clothes and hangers and go into dressing rooms and all of these things. Who knows? And people say, well, are you kind of overreacting? Well, you know what? Maybe. But I'd rather overreact right now and save some lives than pretend this doesn't exist. And then, oh shit, we got a couple of new sick people in Hawaii. That's not fine with me. That's just not fine with me.
I will share with our viewers, and you can go online and you can see all of this. But places like Iowa that at one point had very small numbers decide to open up. And guess what? Tyson Foods, right? Tyson Foods. Just in Perry, Iowa alone, workers go back to work because they're under the mandate from the president to keep processing plants open, correct? They go back to work with no protection. One day, boom, 700 cases of COVID. Then the other two plants in Iowa, one has 400 plus and the other has 200. So altogether, right in that cluster of processing plants for Tyson Foods, there's over 1,500 positive COVID cases. Now you can look it up because that's what I had to do. I saw a tidbit on the news and I said, you know what, I'm gonna research this thing. There it was, plain as day. Now, the thing is, we have to hope for the best and that they can survive that. But again, if you have that much, they're now thinking about closing down the plant. So the point I'm getting at, because the other plant that does beef, that plant, I believe that was in South Dakota, that beef plant, immediately had 1,000 workers infected with COVID. So if we are accustomed to getting our beef from the outside or our chicken from the outside, I think we gotta start learning that we gotta depend on local, because if they do close down those plants because of all of these infections, there will not be any beef or chicken in our stores.
Well, no more employees, right? You test positive, you cannot go to work. You gotta isolate, and so we know that. It's, remember, this was several weeks ago. It's so weird because it's been 6 weeks. It seems like it hasn't been that long, but remember Southwest Airlines? They talked about over 600 positive employees throughout their airlines. That was weeks ago. I don't know what it is today. Heaven knows, and that's why I'm so afraid of flights coming in, because you could test them. They could get exposed on the airplane. You could test them. In other words, you could test them before they get on that plane, and they could be negative. They come here and you treat them as if it's a negative. So the testing, while that's important, it is more important to make sure that they quarantine for 14 days. Now, I heard today, and this really, really made my day. You know Paul Toner?
Yeah.
GM of the Marriott. You know what the Marriott does? And this has been suggested by so many of you out there. So many of you have raised this suggestion. But you know what Paul Toner does at the Marriott?
What?
He doesn't give them a room key. He doesn't give them a room key to get escorted to the room. And if they leave the room, they got to go to the front desk to get another key. Then that's when they call the cops. So obviously the Marriott is not getting any visitors when they find out that they ain't going to get no key. And they tell them this. They tell the visitor before they check in that you're not going to get a room key. So you're going to be stuck in your room. If you come out of your room, you come to the front desk, we're going to report you. So one GM's action is saving lives. Saving lives. Now all the rest, and when Chip comes on, we can talk about that, because that has been suggested by so many of our viewers. And I'll be honest, I mean, I heard it first from our viewers. I never thought of that, but that's brilliant. That's just so brilliant. So mahalo, Paul Toner. I mean, that's when you're serious about this thing. See, it doesn't take much. And that's what, if the state would put that much effort in making sure the airports were working, making sure that these people were escorted, don't allowing them to rent cars, get them to the hotel, make them mandatory that they cannot get a room key. We're under an emergency declaration. The governor has powers that he normally doesn't have. But hotel owners themselves or GMs themselves should be doing this. They shouldn't have to be told if they have concern for this island. So that, I think, I was so happy to hear that today. And I just wish more people would follow, because see, once we're sure that these visitors are in their room for 14 days, we can be pretty sure that that virus will not get a chance. Nothing is foolproof, nothing is 100%. But if we know that they're in their rooms for 14 days, number one, most of them ain't coming. They're not going to come. But the ones that decide to come and try sneak or whatever, the chances of the virus, we getting some major clusters would be limited or reduced significantly. And I think that's where we all have a part. I mean, seriously, washing your hands and all this stuff. We all got to do that. The government ain't going to do it for us.
We got to
take it upon ourselves.
It's all about the messaging. I've said that from day one. And I had a prop and I forgot to bring it with me on air. But if I was to hold up a lemon right now on the screen, and I was just to squeeze it enough where the juice starts coming out, you as the viewer, I can almost guarantee you'll start to salivate, because you know what the lemon does, how sour it is, right? it's all about the messaging. If we give the right message, we wouldn't have to be dealing with all these travelers coming here thinking that they're going to get through the system. And it's all about how we send a message out that we have all of these things in place. But we're not doing that. The state is not doing that. They talk about a quarantine, but they're not doing it, because when you say that, oh, you will get checked, you will go to your accommodation, okay? We may call you, especially if at the airport, they're checking your phone number with your cell phone and not calling the accommodation. Now, come on, and I'm prefacing this because yesterday, having taken my wife into town to get some provision, I was waiting for her in the parking lot of Safeway. And there was this couple, and you could tell they were a tourist couple. The woman got out, and there was a local guy, just asked her a question, oh, are you visitors? And she laid into him with the F-bomb. So it must be, she's been through this before. So now the husband is trying to calm her down. So then this other local lady pulled up on the side and tried to calm the situation down and said, well, if you're going to go into the store, there is a requirement. We need masks. That's why everybody masks. And she goes, I ain't effing putting on any mask. I'll go where I want to go. It's stuff like that, that as a local resident, and you can be Haole, Hawaiian, Chinese, Portuguese, whatever, from this island, if you take enough of that crap, you'll be like a trapped dog and you're going to fire back. So I ended up stepping in. I just told everybody, meet me. And the lady was yelling at me, and I told her, sweetie, we're not here to make a problem. We're here to tell you we have in place. She goes, well, I paid X number of dollars to come in, so nobody gonna tell you. Then you know what? It's best you leave this area, because I can guarantee you, you're not gonna make it in that store. But just imagine if it was someplace and they ran across, say, maybe one of our newly released prisoners from KCCC that's not too good at people's skills, and she laid into him like that. It could be really bad. And that's what I'm worrying about right now. It's the way, the message is getting across, and it's the way of how we got to handle it. And I feel like many of you out there, we kept ourselves locked down for almost 6 weeks. And you know what? We need a little pat on the shoulder, but when you get people coming here and it almost seems like they're laughing at us, that's when the thing get under my skin a little. But we got to maintain, gang. That's all we can do. We got to maintain. And I don't want to see anybody getting in trouble. It's not worth it, but we got to maintain.
Well, it's definitely not our style. I mean, we got to remember that, we just got to take the higher road. And, we can only hope that our leaders, our decision makers, our elected officials do the right thing. And sometimes they do things like this. It's very, very frustrating. But, we take individual responsibility for ourselves and our families. I think that's the key. That is the key. It's very hard to understand. In fact, speaking of the message, don't forget to share this thing right now. Hit the share button, start a watch party, because it's important as we get through some of these details that we're going to get to real soon. We take care of ourselves. We cannot rely on the government. It's pretty obvious, because they are not in line. Their values, their objectives are not in line with ours, in the sense that we all want to see the economy build up. We all want to see that, but we also want to make sure that our people, our kupuna, our keiki, all of our families are safe. That's all we ask. And I don't see that happening with our state right now. I don't see the priority at all being the health and safety of our people. It just does not exist. The whole emphasis from day one, from that first press conference where he didn't want to inconvenience the visitors, that's why he wanted to give a 5 or 6 day delay in the quarantine. It was very obvious at that point. Now we got the visit industry telling us we don't want to open until they lift the quarantine. Now my fear is that the governor is already considering lifting the quarantine for Inter-Island. I hope he doesn't do that too quick. Now is not the time to be traveling for anybody. I don't care, tourist or local. Now is not the time to be flying. But we take individual responsibility. It's hard sometimes, you know, we got turned the other cheek, you know, but we are hoping to get this message out to enough people where people start calling the governor's office. And in the end, we're going to give you the link for all of you to contact the governor if you choose to, because that is going to be vital that they all know. There it is right there, governor.hawaii.gov. I can actually do it right now. Hang on. Oh, where did it go? Oh, well, it's not there. But yeah, just go to that site, click the contact button, and then you can send them a little love note. Let them know how you feel. You see, so many people are posting their frustrations on Facebook. I see posts, I get messages about this visitor is at this beach, they're camping, they're hanging out, umbrellas. You see, Facebook, they don't enforce that. And while it may satisfy that urgent desire to vent, it doesn't, the cops don't track Facebook. The cops don't track Twitter, you know, so you got to call. You got to call 241-1711. You got to report these people. I'm sorry. Facebook's not going to solve the problem. Mel Raposo, Charlie Ona is not going to solve the problem. You got to call 241-1711 and report them. What happens after that, whatever happens, happens. But you do your part. We all got to do our individual part. That's what I'm trying to get the message out tonight, as frustrating as it is.
Well,
We got to make sure we're doing what we can and let the others do what they should be doing.
Well, you know, today, Mel, the governor said that, you know, he believes that the state has flattened the curve. And I believe Kauai has definitely flattened the curve for three weeks over already. We've probably been the first one to flatten the curve, holding steady at 21. Okay. All of them be released. Basically, we're at 0. So kudos to Mayor Kawakami for his foresight that he said, hey, we take an aggressive stand. Bingo. Now I understand he's going to lift the curfew, right? I understand he's going to do that. But with the governor doing that proclamation today, I just like to mention what it is. Business allowed to reopen Thursday include shopping mall and retailers. So we'll go down this list now, then we can talk one by one, and then we can see some of the pros and cons, okay? Non-food agriculture companies, including florists, car dealerships, astronomical observatories. If you find one on Kauai, you let me know. I like to visit that place. Pet grooming services, healthcare and social assistance, including elective surgery. Nonprofits that were previously not considered essential, and wholesalers. That's the list. So you want to start, Mel, going one by one and give you a little input there?
I think for me, and I think for many of the viewers, you know, the rationale behind opening some of these businesses up. I don't know what goes on in an observatory. I don't know what the social distancing requirement is in an observatory, but that generates a ton of revenue for the state. The retail and the malls generate revenue for the state, and at the same time gets people back to work and get them off of unemployment. All of those businesses, healthcare, elective surgery. So now all of the surgeries that you wanted to have that was banned because they needed to keep the resources at the hospital available.
Mm-hmm.
All of those generates a lot of revenue, which relates to tax money for the state. You know, again, you have an economic recovery team that's making recommendations to the governor. You have a governor that's interested in really building the economy back up, which that's his job. But you also have this whole other side, this whole medical community side, the medical experts that are telling us that they're concerned about spikes. They're telling us that they're concerned about the failure of the quarantine process. But the thing that gets me is, so now you're going to open up Ross's, you're going to open up all of these pet grooming or whatever it is. But he still will not open up the beaches because that generates no revenue for the state. He's not going to open up the churches that generates no revenue for the state. I don't understand the logic. Again, and hear me out. Because while I think we're still too early to open up, we're not going to unring that bell. The governor has made that decision. It's going to happen. My question is the rationale. If I wanted to go down to the beach because I need a tan, I really need a tan and a haircut, but I cannot go sit on the beach by myself or with my wife. I cannot. You cannot do that. I can walk across the beach and go to the water, but I cannot sit at the beach, even if I practice social distancing. But I can go to Ross's, or I can go to the dentist, or I can go and do my cosmetic surgeries, but I cannot go to the beach. And I cannot go to church because why? You could limit the number of people in a building like you do in the store. You could set up the chairs for services with 10 feet apart, 12 feet. I mean, if I was the pastor, I'd go 12 feet, but regardless, my point is, what's the rationale? Why is a church dangerous, but Ross's not? I don't understand. And I pick it on Ross's only because that's a store that is for clothing and it's not a food store. But Charlie, we went lunch last week. We were out on the west side and we went to that little lunch place. It's a very small place.
Yep.
And you cannot help but get within 6 feet of each other if you get too many people in that store. And although they have a limit, it's not really enforced. And after this, Charlie, please explain the enforcement of this. But I don't understand the logic to say, no, you cannot practice your faith in a regulated church setting, whether it's you could use a vet center or some big warehouse or whatever. But there is absolutely no problem for you to go to a store or at the beach. To me, I mean, don't you think it's more safe to be sitting alone at the beach than to be walking around with people in a store? So that part I have a hard time with.
Well, I think this is just Charlie Iona. This is Uncle Charlie Iona's 2 cents of understanding. First of all, I don't think the governor, I mean, I have to believe he gets it. And yet on the other side, he's getting advice from who I don't know, because it seems counterproductive and counterintuitive of what he mentioned. So we talk about grooming, right? Pet grooming. If we understand about the virus, we know that there's 3 elements that leads up to the virus. One is environmental, one is animal, and then the last transmitted to humans. Okay. So pet grooming is a second level right before a human. So you take an animal and say that's safe. But yet, if you look at the salons, especially for you ladies out there, I just found this out talking with someone who has a salon. The operator needs to get special license from the state. You deal with chemicals. Actually, before you even cut the person's hair, you're washing down the person completely. I mean, you're not doing a full body, but just the upper half. I would consider that really safe, especially if I, as the operator, cutting your hair, putting color in your hair, wearing gloves, requiring you to sit there with your mask, and that if you want water or something of that nature, a beverage to drink, we get it for you. You cannot leave that chair. And we understand they're going to have other customers, but until such time you're finished on the chair, the other customers got to wait outside. What's the problem with that? That's why I don't understand it. And so if we look at things like that, I mean, I have to say, if there was an advisory team, I gotta believe you had somebody from Petco that was part of the governor's advisory team, and that's how they got pet grooming services in there. Because somebody from Petco says, hey, I'm an expert on viruses in dogs and cats. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if they know more of COVID, no worry. They'll come to find out. And another thing too, if you're looking at retail outlets, if you look at someone in the salon business, hygiene-wise, they're required, I mean, up the yin yang for clean up the utensil, I mean, not utensils, but the tools that they use after each customer. So I think they take more in disinfecting that locale more than if you was to walk into a retail store. Because I can tell you right now, I walked into a Safeway setup. Within the 30 minutes that I was in there wasn't anybody going around wiping down. They're wiping down the carts outside, but nobody wiping down the shelves that people have been touching. I can tell you that firsthand. So there's these kind of things that it's really bothersome right now, but it's just food for thought for you folks out there. I throw it out to you. And like I said, I gave you the address for the governor. Maybe you guys can write to him and just tell him, hey, Gov, you know, what's with this? So I just picked out one segment, and that's the grooming side, because I did a comparison between a pet groomer and someone who has a salon. Now, in no way am I making references that some people look like dogs. That's not what I say. I just saying that for salons, the operator has to go through a extended training and get all those licenses required by the state of Hawaii.
Well, I don't know how these businesses are going to handle this. You know, they got to use PPE. They're going to have to use PPE.
Yep.
And, you know, I agree with you. I'm not sure. I can see why the pet grooming would be allowed, because you drop off your animal and your pet, and then you come back and pick them up. I mean, I understand that, but I go back to the rationale. Why won't you let somebody go sit on a beach? Why don't you let a disabled person who goes out to the park or the beach to go get their daily vitamin D dose and relax and sit on a picnic bench? What? That's where I'm struggling. You pet grooming? I mean, granted, I understand some of these dogs need grooming, but that's almost a luxury. You know, I mean, that's a luxury. I know I'm gonna get beaten up for this, but it is. I mean, it is. You go to a salon or a barber and they ensure the protocols are in place. They use PPE. And you do what you need to do, and you disinfect everything when that customer is done. Obviously, your customers per day will shrink because it's going to take a whole new level of disinfection, regardless of what it is. I'm not an expert in that field. My point is this: we are not making the accommodations for the local people. You see, the small businesses are the ones that are struggling and are suffering. The independent contractors, the self-employed, the self-proprietors, and they're being left out. And the malls and the corporations are being given the advantages. And I think that's the frustration.
Well, here's another thing. Here's another thing that we can all think
real
about.
quick. I want to just Jennifer just said it is a luxury. We groom our own dogs. Thank you, Jennifer. I feel a lot better now.
Okay, here's something for all of us to think about. We have these retail stores. Who is going to police it? Who's going to police the amount of people that can go in? Who's going to police the capacity? It's up to the store. But like I said before, if your store has been closed and you've lost money all this time, tell me you're not going to try to recover some of that cost. So if that means I can only have a capacity of 20 and I can put 25, trust me, I'll put 25. That's human nature. Okay? Probably somebody may or may not get sick, but if everybody wearing a mask, we're supposed to be somewhat protected, right? If I wear a mask, the staff wears a mask, everybody, you have sterilizing wipes right at the entrance of the door. You wipe down before you get in. You should be good to go. But the point is, you're opening up these retail but there is no mechanism again when you have a lot of people going in. Because I tell you, once they start going in, the staff can be too busy if it's a clothing store, or even if it's what's happening with our grocery stores right now. They're too busy restocking the shelves. They're too busy helping people. They're not going to be walking around and goes, aisle 5, aisle 5. We have a violator going the wrong way, aisle 5. You're not going to have that. So these are the kind of things that I'm wondering, who's going to police all this stuff?
And then there's a bigger problem that really got me irritated. They're gonna order all these people gonna go open all these businesses, and they may not open on Thursday. It's gonna take them a while to get ready because this thing kind of came quickly. There was kind of no indication, and the governor is giving no indication of when the next set of places is gonna open. This thing, it's like they do this day by day. But all of these businesses, remember now, we're talking locally Kauai, but we got people on here from Oahu. You know, you think about how many retail outlets on Oahu. That's, remember, visitors are going to go to, people are going to go to, and then come here to Kauai. But my point is this: there's going to be a lot of people that are going to get the call today to say, hey, we're going to reopen. You got to come back to work. And some of these people are either a single parent or a couple that both parents work, or the single parent now has to go to work. The governor chose not to open up childcare. And he was asked that today. He was specifically asked by one of the news media, did you guys take into account, did you guys put in any provisions for some of these parents that have to go to work now because their businesses are opening up and they don't have childcare? And he said, no, we haven't. We didn't think about that, or we didn't look into it, or whatever he said. We didn't make any provisions. Now, the person, the parent or parents that cannot go to work because no more school, no more programs for the kids. So I can just see this person right now telling the husband or telling the wife, or in the case of a single parent, thinking, I cannot go to work. And this person is going to tell the boss, either did so today or tomorrow, sorry, animal child care, I cannot come to work. And they're going to lay them off, and there goes their unemployment because they refused the opportunity to come back to work. Now, I don't know how much the governor and his team, how much thought they put into that. I can only hope that tomorrow, after he gets flooded with the calls and after he watches this tonight, when he goes to home and lays in bed and watches this show, I can only hope that he reconsiders. And if you're going to force people to go back to work, then you're going to have to provide some sort of childcare for their kids. You see, not everybody has extended families that, hey, grandma, auntie, you can take care of Junior while I go to work. Not everybody has that. Yeah, a lot of us do, but not everyone. My daughter's in Oregon. I mean, if she, in a situation like that, who, she got no family up in Oregon that can babysit a child. I don't get it. What do they do when they sit around this big core table at the Capitol? And I've been in there. Sat at the conference room of the governor. What do they talk about? Like, you know, what do they say? Like, hey, we're gonna send everybody back to work. I mean, doesn't anyone in there think there had to have been a parent in there that said, oh, governor, what about childcare? I mean, how can we expect young moms and dads to go to work if they don't have childcare? Because it's shut down. I mean, what did that not come up, or did it come up and they say, well, they got to figure it out themselves? See, that's what baffles me, because I'm not an intelligent super genius kind of guy. But you know, Charlie and I talk during the day. We run these scenarios between each other, and it's like, it's not that difficult. If you want to open up retail and observatories and everything else, then you best discuss that issue or that problem that's going to arise, which is childcare. And if you're not good, if you think childcare is too dangerous, it's too threatening, and this virus is going to attack in the childcare in the house, then maybe we're not ready to open up retail and shopping malls, right? I mean, doesn't that make sense? So.
Yep. You know, when you talked about the scenarios that we run through in a day there, Mel, I think for those of you out there kind of wondering how our minds think, is that as police officers, our biggest dilemma is when we go to court. You know, we made the arrest, it was pretty simple. But because of the attorneys wrangling, we have to be prepared for everything under the sun that normally you wouldn't think about. And so they got to prepare us when we go on a stand because it applies to the law. We're affecting the arrest under the law, but yet there's this little tidbits here and there that's floating out in the universe that we got to be made aware of. So something as simple as maybe even one shoplifting can be 1 4-hour on the stand. And that's crazy. So that's why we think the way we think when we're looking at things like one quarantine, like what do they open? We think it's simple, but we're looking at all the little mechanics that goes behind it. Because ultimately, you can have something simple on one end, but if you need enforcement on the other end, that's why I asked the question, who's going to enforce it? One person wrote that, well, you know, we got to police ourselves. You're right. We police ourselves to the extent that we keep ourselves safe. But again, it's like survival of the fittest, right? You go to a shopping mall, and then next thing you know, the crowds get bigger and bigger and bigger. Next thing you know, it gets out of hand. What do? Do they call the police and say, hey, you better go to Kukui Grove because there's like 600-700 people over there at the shopping mall. The police can be out on loss of words because, first of all, they got to try to determine, hey, where's the capacity load for that mall? What can that mall actually handle? So, you know, it's these kind of things that will pop up and will continually be one headache. And it's all about the messaging. I've been one to say, if it's done correctly, and if everybody can buy into the program, I can assure you, Mel and I would not be here right now if it's done correctly.
Well, you know, you bring up the, you know, when police officers get called to a call, oftentimes they got to make a decision like that. You know, you got to make a decision. You gotta make a decision, and it's not always the right one. Yeah, we know that. Cops are human.
Yep.
But when we look at now, when that after the case is done, and now maybe the detectives have it, or you have time to consider all the elements of this investigation. You sit down and you cover every single basis before you move forward. And my point is this is week number 6, or maybe even week number 7. We have been doing this for a month, maybe a month and a half. And I don't understand how we haven't covered all the bases. You know, something as simple as, I guess, you know, I go back to childcare. How can you not consider that? I go back to the beaches. How can you say that? Now they may say, "Oh, but it's going to entice the visitors." Well, no, you keep the visitors in a room for 14 days. Forget about the visitors because there's not too many of them that stay for more than 14 days. And the ones that do, whatever, they still got to practice social distancing and all stuff at the beaches. But I don't, the logic gets me. We know that the quarantine isn't working. We know that they cannot get that straight. And yet, come next week, I would assume throughout the state, all retail is going to be open. All the malls will be open. Patsy and I had to go to the store this afternoon to buy some cabbage. And I was telling Patsy, I wonder how many stores going to actually be able to stay open and pay off their you know, the utilities and the electricity and their employees and the insurance and all of these things, unless they get a lot of traffic coming through their store. So we don't even know if they're going to the mall going to be able to sustain staying open because I don't know what the traffic will be like. But it seemed to me this is all setting up the state for the visitors. See, the visitors going to shop. Most of our people still not get an unemployment check yet. They don't have disposable income to go to the mall. What are they going to do to them? What are they going to buy? They got to buy their food. They don't have time to go buy clothes. And so, it's really, I think the emphasis is on getting the economy up as quick as possible so he can lift that quarantine and then the visitors can start coming. I just cannot explain any other reason. And it's almost like we're being punished. I'm not a real beach goer. Usually we're too busy to go, but I know a lot of people that are. And we're punishing them that, some people just like go hang out at the beach. Perfectly safe.
I share something with you. I just saw a good friend of ours. He brought up a note here about funeral homes, funeral parlors, right? Wasn't on the list. And you're right, because by the end of this week, my brother will be coming home. He's being flown back, but I won't be able to have a funeral service for him. It's just how it is. So, I did call my brothers today because, I'm having his ashes transferred up to Maui to be with his adopted family that adopted him and raised him most of his natural life. But it's just the fact, what about when we have funerals now? How do people, funerals it's very easy. If you're going to pay respect to someone, it's very easy to tell them that, hey, we have some guidelines. I have always seen people very respectful at the funeral homes, especially when you set up a line that you got to come this way. People are not going to purposely go the other way. So I think, there's got to be some movement from the state side to kind of use, and like you said before, we all go back towards common sense, right? But it sure seems like, it's running low on that right now. It's running very, very low to have something like us. I would love to have a service for my brother. I would love to have one for him. But right now, it's just not in the cards. Not in the cards.
Yeah, I know Mike just posted that a lot of people pointing to the governor, but he has advisors, and we did chat about that, Mike. We did talk about sitting around the big court table and all these people in there. At the end of the day, the governor is the governor, and he puts together these task forces, and he chooses to take the advice, or he doesn't have to take the advice. Now, for all we know, the advisors could be advising him differently. But remember, he put this economic recovery. This is the frustration. The focus was on the economic recovery. They brought in a special guy to run this economic recovery team. Didn't take that long to put this plan together, this first phase plan. Now they have no, and if he does, he didn't say it. They asked him about phase two. They're still working on phase two. There's no timeline. You see, if I was the governor, I would put together a task force. I definitely wouldn't do it myself, but if I had opened up phase one today, it would have come with a set of parameters, or when we get to a week of single-digit new cases with no deaths, we'll open up phase one. After 2 weeks, if there are no increases in cases and no deaths, we'll start looking at phase two. Once we get an increase of cases by 10%, or if we get a death, we will pull back. But see, that's a plan. That's what task forces do. They put a plan together before they go and start the plan. They never do that. They just came out and said, we're going to open up this, and I don't really know about phase two. I don't know when we're going to open up the next batch. I don't know. And that's the frustration, because where was the planning for the quarantine? You see, it's very hard, because I assume everybody watched the Senate committee meetings, and I know most people don't. But if you listen to the guy from airports and you listen to the guy from HTA, who's trying to explain to the senators why this stuff ain't working, you can understand my frustration. They say, well, we take our directives from Haima, from General Hara, not from the legislature. Well, okay, then somebody needs to take accountability. Somebody needs to be the man. Somebody needs to be the one that if it don't work, somebody's got to answer for it. You cannot be saying, oh no, the governor, oh no, it's General Hara, no, it's Bruce Anderson. No. When you're talking about the airports, he's an airports guy. That's the guy that's going to make that decision. He's going to be held accountable. You cannot get that done. You need to be fired. In all honesty, you need to be fired. If you cannot handle putting together a protocol, a policy of how we're going to treat these visitors coming in, seriously, you need to be fired. And you need to bring somebody in that can. That's how I just don't get it. I don't get it. But we will see how this pans out. I hope that we can get through this without anybody dying. That is my sincere, genuine desire, is that we can get through this and no one gets ill or dies. That's what this is all about. The other thing, real quick, Charlie, is it's 8 o'clock already. All right, guys. Thank you all. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Look at Charlie. The other thing, Mayor Derek Kawakami announced today that the curfew is going to be done tomorrow. So tonight is the last night of curfew. A lot of mixed comments. I think a lot of people got used to the curfew. They kind of like the curfew because no more the traffic and the cars going up and down the road.
Hey, Mel, let's ask the people out there if they don't mind. Let's go over a little. Let's go another 15 minutes or so, because I think there's some things more that we need to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just joking, Charlie. I was just joking about we'll go as long as we get material, and once we see the numbers start dropping, then we'll adjust. But I think that was really the last thing I wanted to cover was the curfew, because for us the curfew didn't impact us. Derek mentioned, and I wish I had written it down, but what they did was they took the numbers of police calls, car accidents, emergency room visits or trauma cases, fire calls, ambulance calls, and from last year this time to this year, from April and May, and the numbers were significantly reduced. So as we go forward, and as the governor is preparing for the worst case scenario, the last thing you want is to put people in hospitals that we can avoid. But for the first responders out there that are dealing with, and when I say first responders, I'm talking about police, fire, medics, DLNR, all of these guys that are responding to our calls about visitors and all these violations. We don't need them to be running around at night catching DUIs. The DUIs dropped something like 64% or something like that. It was insane. But for me, it'll be just like we have a curfew, because it's not like we go out every night. There's nowhere to go. I forgot to say this. The governor changed his order from the stay-at-home order to a safer at home order. So basically, he took the stay-at-home away. He took that away. And now it's a safer at home. So it's giving you the opportunity now to leave your house, but know that it's safer to be at home. I think that's a mistake. I really believe that's a mistake. I think the emphasis should really be to stay at home. But because now with the opening of the economy, because now going to a store is not an essential function anymore. Food is, medical. So he couldn't keep it. He couldn't keep the stay-at-home order, because then you couldn't go to the store, a non-essential store. So they've called it now the safer at home. But for me, I'm going to treat it as if I am on curfew. And I think most of you that I read the comments today are going to do the same, because you're concerned. But, again, we take individual responsibility, knowing that when you go out, there's a risk that you may contract the virus, as long as you not being safe. So that's all the message is to all of you tonight. You know, we love all of you guys, man. You guys have become friends. We don't want you guys to get sick. So just take care of yourselves, take care of your families, practice the all of that stuff, and then we should be all right. But you know, again, I think Derek explained it quite well. He said, you know, we sacrificed for a long time, and it's just I'm not sure the way the order is written. You still cannot congregate with more than 10 people. You still got to practice social distancing. So I'm not sure what a safer at home order is. I don't know if you cannot go to your grandma's house and have dinner. You can, I guess, if it's less than 10 people and you sit 6 feet apart. But so it's kind of confusing. But as far as the curfew goes, tomorrow, no more curfew.
Well, for me personally, I love the curfew. I was one that opposed it in the beginning, but my mayor has been real quiet, boy. I loved it. No more sounds of sirens going up and down the road. No, you know, none of that. No more people out on the road on the main highway, Kamoli, Highway 2000, burning rubber. All that came to a halt. And I think the especially the seniors in the area, I think they appreciate that. So I think it was good. I think it was good. But you know, I want to look at where do we go from here? What do we do? I'm gonna tell you right now, as long, you know, we can go back to a whole new beginning if we just could understand the containment, or if just government could understand the containment of the virus, because that's been my biggest point. We've done a good job here locally to contain it. We know where it's at. That's part of contact tracing. We know where it's at. It's contained. It hasn't moved out of its spot. We don't have community spread. We've done our job. Now, in order for us to enjoy life, get back out there, we cannot have it mingling amongst us. I mean, if you want to put it that way, you cannot allow it to mingle amongst us. But the question is, how do we know who has it, right? That's the reason why the quarantine has to be in place on a stricter level. Because once you release that traveler and they're COVID-free, then they enjoy as much rights as anybody else. I know some of you may not agree with me, but they enjoy as much rights as everybody else because they've proven that they are COVID-free. Because you will be subjected to, if you decide to go travel to another state, you're going to be subjected to the same thing too. So what goes one way, it can come the other way too, okay? So once that's proven, that individual is COVID-free, and they get to enjoy. But until that point, you have to err on the side of caution and believe that there's a possibility that contamination can occur, okay? Not from within, from the outside coming in. And that's where the dilemma lies. And that's where not enough emphasis is put. I know last night at 10 p.m., General Hara said, I mean, he was very adamant and he was very honest by saying, okay, this is how the program works. I'm the head of the COVID response for the state of Hawaii, Major General Hara. Okay, I ordered the Department of Health to go and get more contact tracing. They said no, they refused to. And so he kind of chuckled and says, well, I had to go to the governor, have the governor order the Department of Health to go order the additional, which Bruce Anderson came on after and said, yeah, we ordered more contact tracing. You know, if you get one guy that's assigned to do the job, I would think all the other departments would get on board and say, okay, because that's part of the FEMA process. You know, FEMA 1 and 200, it talks about taking orders, chain of command, and when something bad happens, commands will change, but you need to know who you report to. Someone will come in that's not part of your original regiment that's going to be calling the shots, and you have to turn command over to that person. It seems like the Department of Health said, hey, I don't want to play the game, so I'm not going to listen to you. Now, isn't it sad? Right on TV, he has to say that he had to ask the governor for help to make those guys come into compliance. I mean, how confident does that make you, Mel?
Well, I'm very familiar with the military structure. In general is pretty damn high. And I remember, and in fact, he said I had to tell the governor in the way of an order. He said so. He basically had to order the governor, which is he is the incident commander for this crisis. For the life of me, I cannot understand why our Department of Health has been so against testing, so against getting an accurate count of our cases. I can speculate, but I don't know what the heck goes through those guys' heads. And I saw a lot of you asking about Lieutenant Governor Green. He texted me this morning, and he was unavailable tonight. I wouldn't have had him on tonight anyway, because Charlie and I wanted to do this alone, and we're booked for the rest of the week. So we'll have him maybe on the weekend or maybe next week, because he has been on, and he's kind of now bought into this. We got to open up the economy, but he also still very adamant about the testing, that we got to get the contact tracing. That's critical, and that's what gets me. I'm not sure how or why this Department of Health does not do that. I can't for the life of me figure it out, but I understand politics. That I understand quite well. And if the goal from the beginning was let's get this government or the economy opened up as soon as possible, then that explains it. That's one way. Keep the numbers low. Let the people know that we flattened the curve early. Even on some of these people that have passed away, they're saying that, oh, maybe it wasn't COVID. We don't know if it was directly related. They're doing everything in their power to make those numbers drop. Oh, that guy was inconclusive. Oh, no, he was positive. Oh, after he died, we tested him again. He was negative. What the hell is that? But so I am not confident at all with our Department of Health, the leadership. That's no secret. I can only hope and pray that at some point they wake up and they start looking out for the people of Hawaii. I just hope that they realize that a lot of people are hurting. Now is not the time to be playing around with people. Now is not the time to be figuring out, we cannot even get our unemployment system fixed. We can't even get that working. So let's get everybody back to work. So that's just less claims that we're going to deal with. They give me no other reason or no other explanation or justification that's not what's happening. I mean, if you cannot figure it out, there's no explanation other than what I'm speculating. But it is pure speculation. Flights are still coming. I had a call today that Hawaiian Air is still flying from Seattle to Honolulu. Yet in the chart, Charlie, that you posted up with the exemptions, they asked to be exempt from flying from certain airports. Seattle was one of them. I'm not sure why Hawaiian is flying from Seattle. And I got that from a very reliable source who actually who was able to book a $199 one way from Seattle to Honolulu on Hawaiian Airlines. So again, they asked for the exemption because they got their money from the federal government to not fly to those cities, and yet they're flying from Seattle, one of the former hotspots. But anyway, PPEs. People gonna have to buy. All these store owners, I hope to see salons. I mean, if we're gonna open them up, you open them up. Just make sure everybody's safe. Make sure everybody's protected. Oh, hang on, guys. Here we go. This is the deal right here. Boom. Governor.hawaii.gov. I know you all can see the screen. You come right up here to contact, bam, and here you go. You could put whatever you want. Again, whether he responds, whether he listens, whether he whatever, that's beyond our pay grade, but I think it's important that you folks let them know how you feel, because I just don't see the fairness. I don't see the equality amongst businesses. I don't see. Well, hey, Jen, Does SBA loans have to be spent by the end of June? Maybe that's why people trying to open up. I don't know if much about the SBA loan. I don't think it has to be spent. It's as far as depends which SBA loan as well. There's the PPP loan that is to cover your employment costs, your payroll, until people are going back to work. I don't know what the terms are. I'm sorry. You got to check with the SBA. No, I forget what I was talking about. Oh, no, Jen was saying that Hawaiian is only flying cargo. Well, go ahead and try to book a flight tonight. Go to hawaiianair.com and get one from Seattle to Honolulu. You'll be able to book a flight.
You know, another thing today, Mel, some people are asking, a good friend of ours is a good friend of Senator Kalani English. In fact, they're classmates. She did send me this thing asking, you know, we hear a lot of numbers of people coming into the state. We don't have the numbers of people leaving the state. So I don't know of anywhere where you can find a check and balance, because for me, what would be important is to find out every day how many people remain and how many is added to the pool. Because at one point we're gonna get to a critical mass, because we're gonna have to think differently. Remember, I said before, Mother Nature has scrubbed the slate clean, right? Making everything start from new. So we're gonna have to look at what Senator Wakai said. We're gonna have to look at tourism a little bit differently now. I think we need to find out, and I don't think if it was ever determined, what is Hawaii's capacity for tourism? What is the capacity? I mean, right now we can say, well, you know, we've got 3,000 rooms times 2, right? Husband and wife, depending. So you can just get a round figure there, but what is the real capacity? We should be able to know how many people coming, how many people leaving, what people are still here at any given time. I would like to ask somebody, can you tell me right now on Cinco de Mayo, how many travelers are on Kauai? The exact number. I don't think anybody can give you that number.
Well, they cannot.
Yeah.
They cannot, because the HTA report counts them on Oahu. They don't know how many got here. They don't know what, nobody's keeping track of how many people are on island right now. We just don't know that. And that's again, we don't know how many are on Oahu. The amount of vacation rentals that are operating illegally, that are housing these people, condos, you just don't know. And the fact that we cannot keep track of them scares me.
Yeah.
I saw a post. I just want to make sure people understand, these flights and the exemptions. The government basically bailed out the airlines. They had to, or else the airlines would have not flown. We need to fly. We need to get people and cargo and all of that. But the condition of getting that monies from the federal government was that they would have to maintain their routes, all of their routes, that they couldn't change their routes. We're going to pay you not to go park your planes and don't fly. No, we're going to give you this money to help you stay flying. The airlines had to ask for an exemption from flying all of their routes. And they had to say, hey, you know what? Hey, government, yeah, we still want your money, but can we get an exemption from flying to Lihue, to LA, to Seattle, to New York, and so forth? And that list that you saw on Facebook explained every single airline and every single exemption of routes that the airlines did not have to fly. And they were still able to get the money. And the Federal Department of Transportation took a look at that exemptions and they granted it. They need the airlines to continue to fly. And I fully support that. I know a lot of people don't want to bail out the airlines. Well, Lord have mercy, if you don't let the airlines survive, we're not going to, it's going to be disaster. So they don't have to fly to these cities because they got the exemptions. Now they can choose to fly to those cities, and Hawaiian has chosen to fly from Seattle. And I think that is where I'm saying we should stay away from those airports. We don't want to bring those people from those potential hotspots here. But anyway, I hope that cleared it up. I know it's confusing. It wasn't an exemption to no flights coming into Hawaii. No, certain routes, the federal government said you don't have to fly them and you still qualify for your money. there's one more thing that I wanted to cover, Charlie. This is Teacher Appreciation Week.
Yes, 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 yes.
So to all of you teachers out there that are doing the best you can to keep your students engaged and educated, thank you all. Thank you so much. I didn't want to forget that. I wanted to put that in before I forget it. So hug a teacher. See, it's Teacher Appreciation Week, not day. So you get all week.
Virtual hug.
Yeah, virtual hug, virtual hug. Make sure you reach out to all the teachers and let them know that we appreciate them. Teachers
I
are
love
very, very
I love my teachers at Kamehameha. I hope they're proud of me. 1 + 1 is 7. Thank you. Yep, I love you all. Yep.
I went Catholic school, bro. I went Catholic school. I had nuns from the Philippines.
Oh,
They were vicious, bro.
my
But, you know,
condolences, bro.
Catholic school, you can get spanking. You can get, you know, they make you go out, grab the tree branch, and they whack you with the tree branch that you had to go take from the tree.
We had
You
a
know,
teacher, had a principal. Her name was Miss Lord. She was an English woman. She had a long paddle board. We never understood why the paddle board had hookers. It's because no more wind resistance. The bugger would just cut through the air when she whacked you on all call it. And she make you bend over so that bugger stretch over the bone. So it's like skin on bone when you get whacked. Woo! Tell you. Sore like hell.
Stories, boy, I tell you. Well, anyway, remember tomorrow night, Senator Donovan De La Cruz, vicious nuns. Somebody put vicious nuns. Tomorrow night, Senator De La Cruz, he'll be talking about the airport fiasco as well as the Proc 7. Thursday, Chip Behout from the Sheraton in Poipu. And then on Friday, Senator Kochi, and we'll probably be swinging the lieutenant governor.
You know, I guess Friday will be our last show, ML. So I don't know what to.
I didn't want to say that tonight, man. They didn't want to say that tonight.
Now I'm only teasing.
All good things must come to an end. All good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys. I gotta tell you, we appreciate you guys. Flying erasers. Oh my God, Julie, you're right. I mean, and we had the long erasers. You remember the long ones that they were really good too. The nuns were really good at with aiming. That was sore.
But our erasers was you know, we use the real thick chalk and how the thing would build up on a blackboard. And our erasers was made from pumice stone, you know, the lava rock.
Yeah, yeah.
But get that ricochet sound when the thing whack you on the side of the head, you know. Like,
Okay, as we wind down, guys.
Feeding something.
Yes, I gotta tell Stephanie go get you some soup or something. The shirt's gonna run out in a couple of days, so please, you guys, $10. Send me a private message with sizes and the amount you want, and I'll send you a link to pay. It's only $10. Hawaii Community Foundation, thanks to Kirk at the Island Athletic Tees, Kirk Correa. Also, our Lays, Janelle did come on, Charlie. Janelle is on, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Janelle. And
hey, Mel, let's start a whole new series. I see a lot of people chiming in about when you get disciplined, you get flying chalk, flying eraser, yardstick. Hey, we should do one whole show on just discipline.
You know, those, I can tell you, if those Filipino nuns were teaching today, they would all be in prison. They would all be in prison. I'm not joking. What? What's wrong? Patsy's upset. Why are you upset? She
Not worried. Just singing. Wow.
Oh, I tell you, she's trying to act mad, but she stayed laughing over there, Charlie.
Anyway,
Doodle Boy shirts. They're asking about the Doodle Boy shirts. That will be coming up shortly.
Yep.
But we're not going to release that until it's
you're
ready.
all coming, boy, sure.
So anyway, Charles,
Yes,
thank
yes,
you guys
sir.
for joining us. I'm going to ask you tonight to if you can play us some music, real music, not this flattening the curve stuff. You know, my
Okay.
agent got upset. My agent is saying I can no longer sing for free. But yeah, if you can just play us some tunes. I actually was practicing. What the heck was that?
Oh, I 99.
No, 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 no. Oh, right here, right here. Kuhome o Kahalu.
I'll play this other one. They say that the moon will shine up upon you. When they say in your Hawaiian way, I love you too. The stars tonight will hold you tight. When they say in your Hawaiian way, I love you too. As a trade wind gently blows
Pastor,
your
can you dance the
hair,
hula? You want to know if you can dance the hula?
and you can treasure each moment that we share. But tonight belongs to you and I. When they say in your Hawaiian way, I love you too. When they say in your Hawaiian way, I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Viola, thank you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Senator Donovan De La Cruz will be with us, 7 o'clock, same place, same time. We love each and every one of you guys. God bless all of you. Take care. God
Aloha.
bless.
Take care.
Aloha.